KFUG-LP Crescent City 101.1 FM. Amanda Dockter here for community service, serving the community as one does. And I am hopefully joined by phone by Karen Wert. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful, and I can hear you as well. We did it! Gold stars all around. And Karen, what is your formal title with the organization?
I actually have no formal title at all.
Can we make one up?
Yes. What would you like me to be?
Well, I was hoping you could play the part of the guest that I am interviewing here on KFUG Community Radio today, and so far so good. So we can go ahead and dive on in it. You are with St. Paul's Episcopal Church, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And what would you define your role as there, if we're just making things up?
Well, I've had many roles there, and currently we've kind of decided to call me the Rainbow Outreach Chairman.
Rainbow Outreach Chairman. Well, you know what? I was designated the Rainbow Regent, so I kind of like it. It's a good theme. I'm here for it. Okay. Well, fantastic. The reason that I invited you to speak with us here today is because of your involvement with an upcoming event in the LGBTQ Rainbow Outreach community, and that is coming up here on November 20th, the Transgender Day of Remembrance and Resilience. I was tagged in by Thomas Kellum of the DN LGBTQ Resource Project, and he informed me that you had made the decision to host this year's celebration. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Fantastic. Well, first and foremost, thank you for holding space for that here in our community. What factored into your decision to do so?
It actually was something that just kind of fell into place. I was talking to Ben Curry at Joni Lindemeyer's book signing up here in Oregon, and he said something about this service, this Transgender Remembrance service that had been held at Trinity Cathedral, which is an Episcopal cathedral in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually where the bishop for Northern California is at that cathedral. So we fall under that cathedral. And I had never heard of it. So it was kind of a noisy place, hard to talk. So I invited him to come to church, and he came to church a couple of weeks later, and we're sitting in the fellowship hall having coffee. And I said, well, tell me about this. And he did, and it just went from there. I'm like, we could do that. And it just, so the next night was our worship committee meeting, and I went to that and presented what we'd like to do. And then Ben talked to Tom, and Tom made a flyer for it, and everything has just fallen into place.
Perfect. That's wonderful. I was doing a little bit of research into the history of Transgender Day of Remembrance, both nationally and locally, and I've got a few facts here to read off of my old sheet here. So what we're looking at here is the Transgender Day of Remembrance was started in 1999 by a transgender advocate, Gwendolyn Ann Smith, and this was a vigil to honor the memory of Rita Hester, who was a transgender woman who was killed in 1998. This vigil commemorated all of the transgender people lost to violence, and it's kind of become an important international tradition. And in researching the history of it here locally, I found out that it's got local roots as well. Back in 2019, turns out Persephone Rose of Redwood Voice and Avi Kritz of Redwood Voice as well, they actually tried to start a Transgender Day of Remembrance and tried to get that ball rolling with Tom. And then, the pandemic hit, and a lot of people kind of went inwards in a lot of ways. And in this past year, we've sort of seen a little bit of a community renaissance in the LGBTQ plus community. We had our very first Pride Festival here in Del Norte County, and that's how we met. I met you at one of those planning meetings. Do you think that's factored into momentum of pulling this together at all?
Absolutely, because that was my first entry into any activities in the LGBTQ community, being part of that planning, and then getting our church, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, involved in it too, and we had a table at that event. So that's where I met everybody in the community that I now know.
Wonderful. So yeah, a lot of dots are connecting. A lot of people are coming together and trying to bring forth and amplify these things. Now, this is the St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Crescent City. What is the address there?
That's 220 Mackin Avenue, and it's for everybody who's in Crescent City. It's across from the baseball field.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I went to a Weight Watchers meeting there when I was a teenager. All right. Cool. Perfect. That helps us out a lot. Yeah, just back behind the softball fields, St. Paul's Episcopal Church. And so I'm reading that festivities will be November 20th, and they're going to be kicking off at 6 p.m. Do you happen to know what the end time on that is? The notes I'm looking at say that there will be reception at 8 p.m., but it didn't say anything about a close-up time.
We haven't really set a close-up time. It's our goal is to have our fellowship hall open for people to come in. We'll have some hors d'oeuvres there for people to just get comfortable. That will start at 6, so that there will be an hour between that and the service. So as people finish up their workday or whatever, they can come in, whatever is a good time for them. And then at 7, then we will go over to, it's just across the way a little bit, to the chapel where we will have the service. Mm-hmm. And the service, we're not really sure exactly how long it will take. We're looking at maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And then go back over to the fellowship hall where we will have desserts. And we haven't really set an end time, feeling that it will kind of, we want to be there and be open. There's going to be a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very emotional service. We're going to light a candle, read the name, and light a candle for each one of the 62 people in the United States that lost their life to violence because of gender or perceived gender. So it's going to be, we feel that people are going to need to kind of talk and feel community and feel safety with people. So we don't have a definite end time.
Okay.
It will probably just end as it does.
Wind down on its own. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Now, the 62 people figure that we're quoting, is that California, nationwide?
That is nationwide.
Nationwide.
That is in the United States. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate, because unfortunately we've entered into an era where gender identity and gender diversity in general has been politicized, and that really kind of brings a lot of anxiety into the gender nonconforming community. Why do you feel it's important to hold space, particularly in the religious community, for those with diverse gender identities and presentations?
Well, the Episcopal Church is one of the first churches, and I think there's maybe only the Episcopal Church, the Methodist, and the Lutheran Church that are openly accepting of everyone. Mm. The Episcopal Church is we accept everybody, absolutely everybody. There is no one that we will turn out, and that's very important to me. That's one of the reasons why I am an Episcopalian. So, because anyway, that's just important to me. So there are, within the community, there is an awful lot of trauma that has been caused by churches. Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody needs healing. So I know that we are a safe place. I can vouch for every person that goes to church at that church. We're a tiny little church, and it is absolutely a safe place for anybody. So I think it's very important that we open it up to the community, so that there can be some healing. I think that some people need healing. Some people aren't ready for it yet. Mm. So what we're also doing with this is in the fellowship hall, when we're going into the church to do the service, and it's not it's a memorial service. It's not a religious service. It's not an Episcopal service. Okay. It is just a memorial. But people who have been traumatized and just don't feel comfortable going into a church, there will be a film that will be shown there in the fellowship hall for them.
That was actually my next question.
Everybody in the community that wants to be a part of this is welcome, is accepted, and there's no requirement. I don't know if that's the right word, but nobody really has to go into the church if their trauma is such that will make it uncomfortable for them. We just want this to be a safe space, a space for people to remember, a space for people to have community, to be there for each other and help each other, because these are very scary times politically. And we just want to be there. We want to do whatever we can to help anyone to feel more comfortable.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that, because I was going to ask, as you mentioned, a lot of people in the gender diverse community have, in fact, experienced a lot of trauma in the name of religious things, and so they are hesitant to go to activities that are hosted by a religious nature. But as you mentioned, for listeners at home, let me just reiterate, this is not a religious service. It is a memorial service, and they're willing to hold space for you, but you're not trying to convert people, right? You're just trying to hold space.
Absolutely not. We are not converting anybody. We are just allowing our space to be used, because our great concern is to help everybody. We at St. Paul's, we do a lot of other things that are outreach. We make lunches and feed the homeless and that type of thing. And it's the same thing. It's just done with love from our heart, that we want to do whatever we can to help people.
Well, outstanding. Thank you so much for your service on that. If anyone is interested in participating, being involved, helping out with this, who should they reach out to?
Tom Klein would be the person to reach out to. We do also have planning meetings. We actually only have one more because the event is coming up. The planning meeting is at 5:15 at St. Paul's Church on Friday night. So it's Friday, 5:15 in the fellowship hall at St. Paul's.
Perfect. And if you're just tuning in and you missed that, that's to 220 Mackin Avenue here in Crescent City, just behind the softball fields. If you're interested in helping out, I'm sure they will need volunteers to help. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of a potluck situation with the food, and I know that cleanup is always helpful for those things.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time here today, Karen. Were there any other main points that you wanted to touch on that I didn't provide the opportunity for?
I think that was mainly it. The main thing that I want to present is that it is not an Episcopal religious service. We are not taking names to call you back later. It is none of that. We are providing the space because we love you and we want you to feel welcome.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for that, Karen. And just to recap, November 20th coming up, that is a Wednesday, starting off at 6 p.m. at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. This is the Transgender Day of Remembrance and Resilience. It's 220 Mackin Avenue, and we hope to see you there. Thank you so much, Karen, and you have a lovely day.